Girl Karina, welcome. Today we are going to talk about the Venus and Pluto conjunction. And this talk is going to be timeless and universal because we're going to just look at Venus and Pluto in general. We'll look at the aspects and how they relate to each other. So today's conjunction that is happening in Capricorn, we will definitely analyze. But I also just want to talk about Venus and Pluto and how it works in the natal chart. If you see it in synastry, in all aspects of Venus and Pluto, the same themes are going to be applied, okay? And then the aspects will tell you more about how it would manifest, how harshly it would manifest. Venus and Pluto is also very similar to Pluto in Libra, right? Because there's a Venusian ruled energy. So if you're born with Pluto in Libra, which is like the early 80s, right? Then you guys, like late 70s, early 80s, then you guys are born with Pluto in Libra. So it's a similar energy with the Venus and Pluto love lockdown idea. If you have a Venus in Scorpio, then you too would embody this energy because of its natural placement, right? Venus in a Plutonian sign, okay? But also if you have aspects of Venus and Pluto in your chart, if you have Venus and Pluto conjunct, if you have them square, if you have them opposite, or in some sort of harmony like sextile or trines, these topics will also be related to you, okay? So we just want to talk about Venus and Pluto in general, just to give you guys an idea of the depth of this conjoining. But we are currently in a Venus conjunct Pluto in Capricorn of all signs. So let's talk about that, okay? Well, first of all, Pluto has been in Capricorn, and you guys have witnessed this over the last few years. Pluto being in Capricorn, and Capricorn being the zodiac sign of government and business. It becomes very much so about bringing death and an end to how things are governed and renewing it, bringing a new way of governing things, right? Now, Venus is more of a faster moving planet, so she has been in and out of Capricorn over the past few years. Every time she comes back, she is going to come together with Pluto. So what happens when the planet of depth, going really deep, is conjoined with the planet of beauty? Well, the first thing, if you guys have noticed, I recently just did a post, my recent post, I talked about being shallow. And this is not, I don't judge shallow, I'm Venus ruled too, so I don't judge it. But when we're dealing with Venus in her happier placements, she can be very shallow because Venus focuses on material things, looks, and beauty. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being shallow. It's necessary for us so that we can be creative and attract and enjoy and have pleasure. So it's really important to be shallow in life and to not always be so deep. Okay, and that's what we get from Venus. But what happens when Venus and Pluto come together? Now we're dealing with having to go deep. Where we want to stay shallow, we have to go deep. Okay, and so this goes into aspects of Venus that are related to beauty, it's related to money, it's related to power, and things like that. So let's just talk about some of the energies. You guys let me know, where is Capricorn in your chart? Because where Capricorn is in your chart, you are experiencing Venus and Pluto right now, okay? And then if you do have any sort of Venus and Plutonian placements, share with me as well, what do you have? Do you have a Venus in Scorpio? Are you born with Pluto in Libra? Do you have, Pluto in a Venus house, like Pluto in the second house, Pluto in the seventh house? Do you have Venus in a Scorpio house, like Venus in eighth house? Right? So let me know what you guys have down there. Let's start with the superficial level of Venus and Pluto, where you're going to have Capricorn in your chart. Dangerous flirtations. Okay? Dangerous flirtations. Right now, where we have Capricorn in our chart, we could be dealing with some forbidden or taboo interactions that are very deep and intimate. This could also be connected to true intimacy. So this could be using your deep need to be connected with somebody. And if you are in a relationship, a healthy relationship, then this might be great for you if you are embodying this energy, because you guys will have a chance to come together, right, in a very deep way. Other things that can happen with this, right, is controlling love, the need to control people, the desire to be controlled yourself. Being that Pluto is connected to the sex sign of Scorpio, we can see this in sexual themes of domination and submission. And where you have Capricorn in your chart right now, you may be going through some themes about dominance and submission. Where you have these energies in your chart, anywhere in your chart, Venus and Pluto, you too are probably generally going to be dealing with your own need to control and your inner desire to submit as well. Yeah, okay, so we've got two in the chat who say that they have second house Pluto, second house Capricorn. Okay, and then we have one who has Pluto in the second. So let's talk about Pluto and Venus in aspects of money, since that's who we have listening with us, and we'll bounce off of that. So when Pluto and Venus come together monetary wise in money areas like the second house, you could find that you might come across two extremes, because Pluto becomes the angel and the devil in many ways too. So we can discover buried treasure, hidden treasure, some sort of tapping into a money, a streamline that you didn't know you had. And it might be due to some sort of psychological healing or psychological profession, or it could also be, like healing the mind. It could also be sexual, baby. Who is thinking about opening up an OnlyFans? Somebody's trying to do it with a Venus and Pluto. Okay, I actually think that OnlyFans could do very, very well with this intense energy, because it is a Venus and Pluto energy using sex to sell. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just Venus and Pluto. And the other thing is, even though Uranus is not nearly late in Taurus, we do have Uranus, the planet of the internet, in Taurus, the money sign. So that trines Capricorn. So this also embodies more of us moving towards people taking more seriously the profession of being more sexual on the internet. It's even though pornography is one of the biggest industries on the internet, it's still very hidden and taboo. I feel like this might be starting to change and shift, and more people are embodying their sexuality and their sexual power, especially when it comes to money. Okay, so buried treasure, that's one version that could manifest. It may not be that way for everyone. Now, if you have Venus and Pluto in Capricorn in your second house, or Venus and Pluto positions connected to money, right? Because Venus is already going to be money related. You could find gold digging to be an issue here, like connecting with somebody who just wants you for your money, who just wants to make money for you. They may not have any interest in you or what you're actually doing, but just see it as a great investment that they could easily spend cash and make cash back. Okay. And again, that I feel like is very deeply related to Capricorn, the idea of business, right now, aspecting Taurus, right now for us globally, you see that happening as cryptocurrency is skyrocketing. And we also have that issue with GameStop stock, where people are trying to make money, manipulation for money and power and financial power, right now, using money, using pleasures, Venus pleasures, to make fast cash. So this is also big gold digging, and you're seeing that also on a global level. That even when it comes to certain things like the medical fields, you know what I'm saying? Why do you have to have several different options? You know what I'm saying? That's because everybody is trying to get some money in the hype, where everybody's attention is, where everybody's more than willing to abide by, whatever. What I'm trying to say is, Mofos is trying to take your money right now, okay? Watch out, because the big wigs are gold digging, all right, with Venus and Scorpio, Venus and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, the sign of big business and old school long-term business, okay? So welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm definitely going to transfer this over to YouTube as well as an audio. So if you're not able to catch it here, it will come down off of Facebook, but be on the YouTube later today. Okay, let's dive more into these Venus and Pluto aspects. Okay, if you guys really want to understand, Venus wants to be fun, flirtatious, and light, pretty, soft, delicate, but also powerfully sexy, sensual. You know, those are things that Venus wants. That's as deep as she goes. If she can get you to turn your head, to look at her, to lend her some money, then she's good. But when she starts to play with Pluto, who is not trying to be all shallow, we get these deep situations where we're looking for intense commitment, okay? Now, Venus herself is a very committed sign and loyal. Because she is focused on her relationships, she naturally will be committed, really. You don't have to worry too much about the loyalty of Venus ruled signs, right? But when Venus goes into Scorpio, or when Venus encounters Pluto, this is commit or die. This is commit or else, okay? It becomes extremely possessive, extremely obsessive, and honestly, if we really dig deep, and I've mentioned this in Lilith and Venus and Pluto energies, or like Lilith and Scorpio or things like that, feminine energies tying in their Plutonian energy, basically. Yeah, this is when somebody is willing to be submissive as well. And relationships can feel very taboo or addictive. Okay, instead of being frivolous, instead of being too flirty, like how Venus can sometimes be, but flirtations with Venus is natural, and it usually doesn't involve disloyalty. But when Venus becomes encountered with Pluto, flirtations can be extremely disloyal and extremely perceived to be disloyal. You know what I'm saying? Because Pluto makes you obsessed with your partner, makes you addicted to your partner. It makes you addicted to almost anything. Pluto does not like these frivolous, lighthearted, expressions of Venus. It feels like she's fickle, even though she's not. Venus ruled signs are not. Well, maybe Libra could be fickle. Libra's definitely more fickle than Taurus. But they both are still relationship signs. Pluto really doesn't have much to worry about. But because Pluto is so dark, when Venus and Pluto come together, Venus and Pluto, they have to deal with shedding their superficial attachments and really choosing to attach on an intense level. This does not rock well with other zodiac signs that can't handle such holding someone down. Certain signs like Aquarius, Sagittarius, Gemini, these signs, and even Libra herself, because she's Venus ruled, she is not really trying to be held down, even though she will be loyal. So, it's very heavy love. It's very dark love. But Venus here wants to explore the more extreme parts of her nature. And every planet that encounters Pluto, it's not that Pluto is making them become different. Pluto is pulling out of them the toxicity or the deep underbelly of what's actually going on here. So Pluto only shows to Venus her own extremes, her own extremities. And when we look at beauty, this also becomes very detailed, because in beauty, we can, we want to be beautiful. We want to take care of ourselves. We want to be attractive. And also there's a level of beauty that's actually first about self-love, because when you're taking care of yourself and you're decoring yourself, you're actually pouring love into yourself first before even trying to attract somebody else. So when Venus and Pluto conjoin, this can sometimes be flipped. Sometimes it isn't about self-love. Sometimes Venus will dress up to be powerful, to be sexual without needing necessarily the love or the self-love that belongs with it. Venus strips off her need of that romantic, light-hearted flair. But she's still about her relationships, but she's more about control and power, in which she will costume herself, role play herself, and decor herself in order to seduce her lover. Even if these ways that she is dressing and decoring and putting a weight on is not natural to her nature, she still may attempt to do it for the fast results. Okay, so Venus is really looking for immediate results when she conjoins with Pluto or Scorpio energy. So love and money and beauty are now even more so manipulative. They're manipulative for social status because Pluto also really does want to be powerful. And when Pluto is powerful on its own, Pluto is powerful through the transformation. The transformation itself from weakness to strength is what makes Pluto powerful. But when Pluto comes with Venus, Pluto starts to feel like I need Venusian things in order to be powerful. So Pluto feels like I need to be beautiful. I need money. I need social status in order to be powerful. So Pluto starts to put on Pluto, the planet of depth, D-E-P-T-H, depth, to go deep, starts to put on the costumes of shallow, right? And goes backwards on its own ability to be powerful, trying to embody the more shallow things to be powerful. So this is where we can use beauty to be extremely powerful, to manipulate, to get people to buy from us, to get people to, do as we say, this is love spell energy as well. Okay, so we can overpower people with our beauty, with our sexuality, with Venus and Scorpio. And where you have Capricorn right now, that might be the case. The other thing is that you can also be overpowered by beauty, sexuality, sensuality, more than likely, and money. So it could be one extreme or the other. When you're dealing with when you're dealing with Pluto, it's one extreme or the other. You're either in the angel or in the devil. You know what I'm saying? So you are either, or you're black and white. Basically, you're one or the other. The two opposing extremes. So if you are overpowering people with your beauty, the opposite extreme could be that people are being feeling severe insecurity because they're not beautiful, because they choose beauty as a means of being powerful, and it's truly not true. It's not real. In fact, Venus is connected to the concepts of the mysteries and the Maya of women, in the aspects that you use Venus in order to create, to paint on, to craft and to shape what beauty is. And this is why we see this in makeup and, hairstyles and all of that. It is the very magic of Venus's shallow but creative expression that gives her the ability to create a different mask, a different mystery on women and men alike, but it starts off, Venus starts off with women being ruling over the materials that women need. But of course, this also are the materials that men need, whether it is actual women or the other things that men need to decor themselves as well, being fashion, makeup, jewelry, tattoos, and all of that. So these things are all embodied with Venus. And so when we are looking at the extremes of being overpowered by beauty or overpowering each other by beauty, we can find that there are going to be people that are embodying this very role in Capricorn. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about and go through the signs about. So now that we have discussed the different types of ways that Venus can express itself, I want you guys to consider that when you look at your household. But right now, I'm just going to quickly go through Venus overpowering beauty, right? Or using beauty for power advancements or power control through the houses. But of course, keep in mind that there are different manifestations as we just talked about, like the monetary parts and the love addicted, relationship addicted parts. But we're just going to mainly focus on these poisonous passions, these killer vixens, these mysterious incubus, the the subservient role plays, the dominatrix role plays, the lustful beauties, the manipulative side chicks or manipulative side hidden desires, okay? Secret love affairs, secret sexual desires, people who are looking for buried treasure or who hide their secret treasures, okay? And this is Venus and Pluto. So let's go through the first house and through into the seventh house. If you have Pluto and Venus energy in your first house, then you are dealing with your own self being the very thing that is overpowering beauty, meaning that you are utilizing your dress, your fashion, your makeup, your personality to overpower, to to be in control of others, specifically those that you first meet. Some of the key role players would be people that you've never known before, who are succumbing to your own power play when it comes to your appearance and your beauty. But it could also be the other extreme, in which these people that you are first meeting, right, are the ones who are actually putting that on you. They are trying to enforce or push on their sexual nature, their psychological beliefs or conditionings onto you. And so they too become poisonous passion players if you have Venus in the first house, Venus and Pluto aspecting or within the first house. If you have Venus and Pluto aspecting or within the second house, this goes more towards money. And so we did talk about gold diggers and buried treasure in the second house. But what you can also discover here is that people are trying to control you through the pleasures that you could receive if you do what they say they want you to do. And so these people, these role players who might be these very people, could be, people in your family, but could also be like the person who cuts your check. So it could be the boss, but it could also be like the secretary or, the person who works for the boss or the person who actually, sends out the checks basically, or does that work. So, somebody's trying to control you and manipulate you through pleasures, through beauty when it comes to your money. This could be in working in a position that you don't really want to work in anymore, but you're still compelled to do it because the pleasure is there. Or this could be actually being offered a very big financial gain, due to trying to control you, trying to keep you around, or something like that. This could also be some people who are just trying to get to your money, people who don't really care about you, who are trying to gold dig, as I've mentioned before. When we look at Venus and Pluto aspects in the third house, then we're looking at more of this deep communication. So this is where we can lie more into the power plays of beauty when it comes to how we actually communicate our beauty. So what do I mean when I say that? That would be, like, what are the types of aesthetics that you belong to? There are different ways in which we could showcase our beauty. Some people might choose like a more gothic way of expressing themselves. Some people might choose a more urban way of expressing themselves. So what is the style and the swag that you choose to communicate your beauty is going to be what is important here. And it may very much so be a power play in trying to be respected in a certain community that you belong to or a certain group of friends. It's kind of like the "you don't sit with us" energy unless you abide by expressing yourself in this way. This could even be graphic t-shirts or graphic words, erotica words, or sexual words in order for power plays to get attention or to gain some sort of control. When we have Venus and Pluto aspecting in the fourth house of home and shelter and our private world, our private life, our personal emotional development, fourth house is very intense. It also is connected to our deep family's history. So Venus and Pluto becomes very, very interesting here. There's definitely possibilities of eliminating and cleaning out or bringing to surface where a family member or family members or the family itself partakes in toxic habits that keep controlling other family members, or keeping them in a place where they're imprisoned to a certain role that they need to play within the family. This could also be sexual trauma or sexual bad habits that are showing up in the family arena. So this can be a little bit of a scary placement for some. What you can also find here is just a deep reconstructing of a house, and maybe desiring to renovate and make the house as beautiful as possible. And again, Venus shows her shallowness wherever she goes. Again, shallow, there's nothing wrong with it. We need shallow. She shows her shallowness everywhere she goes, but underneath, when she's conjoined with Pluto, there's a deep strategy. And so with here, it could be utilizing the redecorating or making a home, being motivated for a home to be more prestigious within its community as well, or within the block, or within a family, like maybe being the family member who has the biggest home or the nicest home or the most powerful looking home, so that you feel like you are stronger in your family, that you'll be respected by the people in your family, and that you can control or manipulate them versus them controlling and manipulating you. So this is one way that would manifest with Venus and Pluto aspects in the fourth house. Now, with Venus and Pluto aspects in the fifth house, we can find that this is pulsating attractiveness, okay? I'm gaining a lot of my information from astrofix.net. I want to make sure that I put that in there, and I'll make sure to put a link below if you guys want to read up on one of my favorite writers of astrology. Their site is called astrofix.net, and they have this section about pulsating attractive presence. I have to share this with you when we look at Venus and Pluto in the fifth house, because we could very much so be dealing with somebody who has unlocked the code to their deep physical attraction. This is actually tying in feminine and masculine traits here in the fifth house, because the fifth house is naturally ruled by the sun, which is a masculine energy, and the sun and Venus actually are extremely magnetic when they come together. But then when you add Pluto, the magnetism is there to strategize and to gain something. And I feel like in the fifth house, because it is sun energy, we could be just gaining self-obsession, self-love, and slightly narcissism, and being able to feed the ego in ways that would make the person feel more confident, because maybe they are dealing with severe insecurities. The need for a relationship is still strong here, but that relationship has to abide by the person's need of control or their preferences over the relationship's ones. This could be one in which you are really finding beauty to be your way out, your way into wealth, your way into a better, happier life. And so here the sun brings more warmth to the Venus and Pluto aspects, but it still can deal with some sort of psychological situations that have to do with childhood, maybe trying to understand your psychological conditioning due to childhood and how it is that you react in the world of romance. Because the fifth house also rules over where we date and where we court one another. And so Pluto and Venus here, frivolous dating is actually less likely, and people become more willing to jump right in, to get more intense, to get more, this could be a place where somebody wants to get married quickly to somebody they just met, maybe even order just to feel more powerful or to have an extreme change in their life. or to stop, taking so long on something in love. So the impulsiveness can also show itself here. Moving into the sixth house, Venus and Pluto becomes extremely focused on being the most magnetic through their health. And while Venus and Pluto are magnetic and trying to claim sexual power in all placements, in the sixth house, it becomes an extreme focus on what you eat and how you take care of your fitness and take care of your overall health. This could be a health crazed, obsessed person who, has to compulsively, work out, or compulsive, or, is obsessed with eating healthy food. This could lead to the extremities of certain bad types of healthy, extreme health problems like bulimia or anorexia, or the complete opposite, which would be obesity. So Venus and Pluto in the sixth house is really obsessed, focusing on their own attractiveness by mastering their health, but they have to deal with the extremities of that. In a lot of ways, this is also power plays in the work environment. You could be dealing with certain role players who embody Pluto, which would be somebody who is like your manager, who is pretty intense, right? Maybe emotionally, but it's almost scary. Or somebody who actually embodies Venus in a mysterious way, who actually is deeply seductive, who might play hot and cold, coquette-like ways in which they show you that they are interested in you, and then they back off. They keep it more professional. Crossing the lines of professional versus, our deepest pleasures becomes a big issue here in the sixth house. Now, Venus and Pluto, right, in the seventh house is the need to encompass and control just one person. Venus utilizes her beauty to strike at what are the deep desires, the deep attractiveness that her very partner needs. So she might be very obsessed with discovering her partner's needs and wanting to meet those needs on a shallow level, but really it's a lot deeper, because she's really obsessed and addicted to the relationship, and will do anything to keep that person there. Even if it means, right, not doing things that is out of her own morals or values or character, because when we look at Venus, we are challenged by those things. And in certain Venus placements, we will be challenged by our morals, values than others. Some of those placements would be in the second house and in the seventh house, like this one. So Venus and Pluto in the seventh house, this also could be impulsive love, compulsive love. This could be a breakup. The seventh and eighth house both could represent Pluto wanting to bring an end to a relationship. But this also is just looking at the depths of why somebody's trying to attract someone or someone is trying to walk away from someone. It's a lot deeper. It's a lot strategic. It may have been preconceived, especially in this placement. Now, Venus and Pluto in the eighth house, as I've said, Pluto in the eighth house is the separation of what we shared together. This is why this also becomes a breakup in some cases. Pluto wants to pull apart the resources that you relied on one each other. This could be being very addicted to what, everything that you have lost or gained in a relationship. And having to learn how to surrender to that as well. You might need catharsis and transformation through relationships. This could be where you're using Venus and Pluto to gain catharsis and transformation in your sexual appetites and your sexual interactions. Even if they are one-on-one, even if they're casual, in the eighth house, they become a lot deeper. They are fulfilling psychological voids and heart voids as well, with Venus playing here. So beauty becomes overcompensated and is really actually looking for a transformation. So Venus and Pluto in the eighth house, you can try to overpower the world with your beauty and may go to the extremities of trying to be at your most beautiful, which could be a very extreme type of plastic surgery, which would happen in placements like this one, or in placements where Venus and Pluto might find themselves in like the sign of Virgo, or in the sign of Libra if you're born with Pluto in Libra, or Venus and Pluto in Libra. Now, Venus and Pluto in the ninth house are actually deep psychological depths towards the manipulation of religion and faiths. But this could be the extremities in which, actually, I was just reading an article, old article, on a preacher that manipulated his congregation of women to actually perform sexual acts on him, thinking that it was, serving God. So this could happen here with Venus and Pluto in the ninth house ruling over our religious gurus. So these are being obsessed and wanting to sexually come together with religious gurus. So if you have these placements, you want to watch out because you might be naturally addictive and cross boundaries that you are actually just more psychologically triggering, right, for you. You can also be the victim of manipulation by religious, mighty higher ups, because they are higher up, maybe not in spirituality, but some of them are higher up even in government. But they are also, utilizing the mask or the shallow face of the beauty of, when a religious person can shine a lot of light on love or whatever, but you know that their actual internal practices could be very far from what your idea of love is. So this is those buried things that can happen here with Venus and Pluto here. So you want to watch out for spiritual manipulation on a need to gain, just get into the draws, basically to get into your pants, utilizing spiritual manipulation. This can happen, and it could be the tendency with Venus and Pluto in the ninth house. So moving forward, Venus and Pluto in the 10th house is a very simple breakdown, right? This is somebody who is trying to be at the very top of their industry and will do whatever it takes in order to do that, including Venus and Pluto types of things like having sex or seducing or playing sex games, mind games on certain people in order to get ahead. You could use your body to overcompensate. You can use your beauty to overcompensate in the professional world over the actual skill or the talent that it is that you need to have. Venus here might desire to just be in a position more than care about how that position impacts and changes the world. So we can have some toxicity here because of the strife to be successful with Venus and Pluto in the 10th house. The need for a relationship becomes more about, let me combine with my boss, let me combine with my coworkers or my employees so that I can really have the career that I want to have. And some of the role players might be your employees. So if you are not the person in charge taking advantage, then the employees might be the ones who are coming to you with deep psychological issues or coming to you with their own, relationship issues, sexual issues, or employees trying to gain, get ahead by having sex with you if you are in a position of power. Venus and Pluto in the 11th house is tied to our relationships with big organizations and friendships, the types of friends that help you get ahead in life. And the 11th house is also your followers and your fans. So Venus and Pluto here utilizes beauty to gain and attract influence over people, and maybe just for that very reason. The shallowness that is something as simple as being a part of a makeup industry is likely to be here, or being part of something that is Venusian related, which would be any of the arts, right? But you can use that in order to gain more people who are obsessed fans, those fanatics. And typically, if you don't have fanatics with Venus and Pluto going through 11th house, you might really want them, right? So it might be the extreme of having them and you're trying to fight them off. But it might be the extreme of being like, look, in order for me to fulfill this feeling that I need to have, that I am of a certain status, that I really want to have my own supportive cast. This is a typical person who might buy subscribers online, who might pretend to be something that they're not online, who might walk into a party or walk into a networking event pretending to be in a profession that they're not as well. So there's a lot of hidden and secret energies here in order to showcase a wealth or value that the person may very much so be actually more insecure about. But it could also be the other extreme in which you are extremely valuable and you are being, there's a lot of gold miners and there's a lot of treasure hunters and there's a lot of people seeking your money and your status and who want to be near you, close to you, obsessed with you, copy you, be like you so that they could have your life, have your lifestyle. Now, Venus and Pluto in the 12th house, beauty becomes extremely powerful here. Desiring to use beauty for power gains is also very powerful here. The 12th house is related to Pisces energy, which is connected to photos, films. And so Venus actually expresses her creativity here. It's one of the better placements for Venus and Pluto to be, because you can cathartically create through any sort of painful situation that you're going to. Use creating as a means of helping you to heal yourself. And there's a lot of artists that do that. One artist that I know who has Moon in Scorpio, but also is Venus ruled, is Beyonce, who actually is very much so connected to deep pain in her creative works, and it showcases that she utilizes, right, where Pluto wants to be intense, where Pluto can be very intense, right? She can channel that intensity through her creativity, which gives a extreme catharsis to her. And you'll see that in her performance, as much as it may seem shallow that she's dancing and performing and acting and being sexy on the stage, there's also another level to it that is extremely healing and transformational for her, because this is where she can express the depths of her needs without being overpowering to another person. So in the 12th house, because you have the filter of media, the film, photos, you can actually be less controlling over others, and the need to control can be the undoing, which becomes actually very peaceful here in the 12th house. So that is Venus and Pluto aspects through the houses. If you are currently listening to this on this date in 2021, then definitely look where Capricorn is and listen to where Venus and Pluto, what house Capricorn is, right? Because Venus and Pluto are directly affecting you right now. But if you also have Venus and Pluto aspects in your chart or in the synastry chart, just go ahead and check out the timestamps below and listen to the house placements where you're finding those aspects to give you a shallow idea of Venus and Pluto. The possibilities and the manifestations of this can be so extreme. It can be everything from birth to death. What I have said today is only scratching the surface of the possibilities of a Venus and Pluto transit or found in the natal chart. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace and love.